I forgive you, so come back to me.
This foolish guy was talking condescendingly to me. What's his problem? I won't forgive this jerk who threw me into the depths of hell. My name is Lydia. I am an ordinary 44-year-old housemaker. I'm busy with house chores every day, and I'm satisfied with my life. My husband Jason and I have been married for almost 20 years. Looking back, a lot has happened in our marriage. The time my father-in-law passed away right after our wedding, and all the errands I had to run for his funeral. When I struggled to find the best way to communicate with the demanding mother-in-law. And then building a house and going through fertility treatments. We never had children. Of course we wanted to, and we tried hard. However, both of us had infertility issues, and the storks never came to us. After having numerous discussions, we decided to be happy with the two of us. I would be lying if I said I didn't feel lonely, but I had my husband. He alone was a source of my emotional support for me.
I'm home. What's for dinner tonight?
We're having salmon steaks. I found some fresh fish on sale.
Whoa, they look delicious,
he said at the dining table.
Amazing. Your food is the best.
Really? I'm glad.
Oh, I'm so glad we got married.
He looked really satisfied. I was glad I married him too. He made me feel fulfilled.
Oh, by the way, one of my colleagues just had his third child.
As I was clearing the table, he casually mentioned it. Oh, okay. We'll have to get a baby gift then.
Thanks for taking care of it as always.
That's okay. It's what a wife is supposed to do. At that time, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but he may have already started to change without me noticing. One day,
I'm invited to a sip and see party at my colleague's house. It's this weekend.
Nice. It'll be fun. Don't drink too much, okay?
I know.
I sent him off that day. It was my first day off alone in a long time. Once the chores were done, I contemplated what to do next. I started to get ready, thinking about catching a movie by myself. Then my phone suddenly came alive. Hello, Lydia? Is Jason with you? The caller was my mother-in-law. Hi, Beth. He's out right now. Oh, was he? He went to a sip and see party at his colleagues. She was silent after my reply. Then she let out a heavy sigh before she spoke.
You know, Lydia, I don't want to say too much about this, but Jason is frustrated.
About what?
He can't have a child on his own, and yet he's celebrating the birth of the friend's child. He's such a kind man, so you should be attentive and listen to whatever he says to you. Understood?
The call was abruptly and violently hung up. I wondered what the purpose of her call was. We never had a good relationship from the beginning. The final straw was our choice not to have children.
Having kids is what truly counts if you are a woman, right? I can't believe it. What did you marry my son for?
Such things were said to me. Jason and I were both responsible for the problem, so it was not my fault alone. She just didn't want to admit that our son was infertile. Oh dear. Thankfully, she only calls me once in a while and never came over. The call, too, only happened once a month or so. I just had to put up with it and move on. I didn't stress over it and took it in a more laid-back way. I'm back. It was around 7 p.m. when Jason, who probably had a lot to drink, came home. Hey honey, you must be quite tipsy. Well, he was usually in a good mood when he got drunk, but he seemed to be in a strange mood that night. He was in low spirits, or perhaps he was thinking about something. I offered him a glass of water while he sat quietly on the sofa. Are you okay?
Thank you.
He took it and drank it down in one gulp.
I saw the baby. He's so cute.
Oh, that's great. To be honest, I have yet to get used to him talking about kids. We wanted to have one, but we couldn't have one. Every time I faced reality, I felt the prickle of pain from the thorn that was still stuck in my chest.
I wonder if there's still hope.
He slurred. What do you mean? By the time I managed to squeeze out a few words, he was already passed out on the sofa. I wondered what he meant. Maybe he meant that he wanted to have a child. All kinds of thoughts were going through my head. It must have been just a temporary thought, seeing the baby up close. I taught myself not to take drunken nonsense seriously. I tried to keep myself calm. On the contrary, Jason began to change from that day on. Hey, I made your favorite dinner tonight. Pork chop.
Whatever.
Usually, he would be overjoyed, but he was indifferent. I figured he was tired from work. At times like that, it was best to give him some space. I kept quiet and observed. After a while, hey honey, I want to go shopping this weekend, so can you drive me?
Why? You're just gonna waste money on the gas. Take a bus.
But it'll be hard to carry heavy things by myself.
Such a hassle.
He had never talked to me like that before. I was bewildered by the drastic change.
Ew. Dinner is disgusting tonight. You're a housewife. Clean the house better. Don't talk to me.
He became someone who spoke like that. I worried that he was suffering from some kind of illness. A brain tumor could have caused a change of personality. I considered taking him to the hospital. But just then, he dropped a bomb on me.
You want a divorce? Yeah, I want to restart my life.
But why? All of a sudden?
It's actually not sudden for me. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I'll be 42 this year. It's not too late for me.
What's not too late?
Why don't you get it? It's the last chance for me to have my own child. You can't give birth anymore. So it's too late for you. I still have a chance.
He then gestured to Beth, whom he had called in advance, to sit down beside him. She added her voice in agreement with them.
You know, I wonder if you understand your position. Why don't you just step aside?
I was infertile, so they didn't want me anymore. They were throwing me away. When I grasped that, I felt like I was dropped into the abyss. I sat in silence, unable to say anything, unable to wipe off the tears that were flowing. Beth had a look of triumph on her face. She probably didn't want a daughter-in-law who couldn't bear children from the beginning. I'm going to find a young and beautiful wife for him. She's going to have many kids. It would have been better if he had pointed out my inadequacies. Then I had room for improvement. There was absolutely nothing I could have done about the child. I had no choice but to agree to the divorce. I couldn't understand. I believed that we had been a happy couple. I had made up my mind to support and love Jason for the rest of my life. It was just my own self-indulgence. I felt empty and devastated and could only shed tears uncontrollably.
Just think of it as a final act of kindness and agree with the divorce, please.
Kindness? Surely if he wanted children, it would have been kind to leave him.
Or are you going to ruin my life because of your selfishness?
Selfishness? I reluctantly agreed to a divorce. The look of satisfaction on Beth's face made me feel like my heart had been gouged even more. And then Jason mercilessly kicked me out. After 20 years of marriage, it was such a cruel treatment. My parents were terribly worried about me as I became a zombie after the separation. The feeling of being betrayed and abandoned by someone I loved wasn't going away. I cried day in and day out. Maybe I was going back to my old life the next day. Maybe Jason was coming to tell me that it was all a lie. I was hoping for nothing but that. One day, my friend Macy came to see me out of worry. "Lydia, don't throw your life away for a man like that. You've been good wife all your life. She was one of the few friends I kept in touch with after I got married. She was a strong and kind woman who always praised and encouraged me. She knew how to cheer me up. You know, there are as many men in the world as there are stars in space. If you don't find happiness, I won't forgive you. She helped me regain my strength little by little. Before I got married, I worked as an accountant. Although I had a gap of about 20 years, I was able to get a job through Macy's connection. Thankfully, I continued to study and obtain qualifications during my marriage, which paid off. Working and talking to someone distracted me. I started enjoying every day of my life. All of that was thanks to Macy. My parents were relieved to see me back on my feet. 5 years had passed since then. On my way home from work, I ran into someone from my past.
Long time no see.
Excuse me, but do I know you?
How nice of you. It's me. How could you forget?
I wondered what he wanted with me after all those years. He even had his mother beside him. Are you stalking me?
I had no choice. I don't know where you live or work. I thought if I walked around in your parents' neighborhood, I might see you.
It was certainly creepy. So, what can I do for you?
I've got something good to tell you. He's so kind, you know. You should be grateful to him.
My ex-mother-in-law's grin was also creeping me out. I checked the time on my watch. Sorry, I'm in a hurry.
I told you I've got something good to tell you. So listen to me. Let's go to that cafe over there.
I was somehow forced to follow them.
You can come back to me.
Jason suddenly blurted out something inexplicable, but with all smiles besides him. I was confused, trying to figure out what kind of a prank they were pulling.
You cried so much and refused to divorce me back then. I thought about it a lot. I can't leave you alone, you poor thing. Come back to me.
I almost burst out laughing hearing his comment.
No, don't laugh now.
I managed to cover it up by hanging my head down. They mistook my reaction as I was relishing in my happiness and carried on with the conversation.
I've been thinking about you for the last 5 years. You must be the same about me. I'm sure you miss me.
He's been thinking about you ever since the divorce. He waited for you without remarrying. So he couldn't remarry after all.
When you come back,
I'll have something for you to do.
So don't worry.
It'd be easier for you to get back into the rhythm again. Apparently, this was the main concern. I showed my keen interest and asked, "What is it that you want me to do?"
My mother-in-law, Jason's grandma, is in need of nursing care. She has dementia, and it's been a lot of work.
Ah, I got it. That's why.
Come back soon. I love you.
I was at my wit's end and burst out laughing. They looked at me with their eyes wide open.
Are you that happy?
Well then, Lydia, you can come back with us today.
You too. Please,
keep your jokes between yourselves. I looked down at them coldly. Why would anyone go back to being a slave now? It's not that you didn't remarry by choice, but you simply couldn't, right? What makes you think that I still love you? After such a horrible divorce, have at least some decency without being complete idiots. I put some cash on my coffee on the table and turned to leave the cafe. Then a girl came inside. I'm back. The girl jumped into my chest. Hey, Amy, sweetie. What are you doing here? I saw you from my side. The little girl was chirping away. Jason and Beth were looking at us, stunned. Mom, what's for dinner today? I don't know. Meatloaf? Yay, I love meatloaf. Jason looked at me and Amy alternately, his lips trembling.
Mom? What's happening? Are you remarried?
Yes, but oh, you didn't know? Indeed, they didn't. I never took the trouble to inform them. I asked my friends and family not to say anything about me, so they probably didn't get the information.
This can't be true. You were so reluctant to leave me.
Jason covered his head with his hands and kept mumbling, No. You know, how many years ago are we talking about? It's been 5 years. Of course I'm married again. I asked Amy to wait by the cashier and stepped closer to Jason. But I'm glad you came to visit me. I've been wanting to tell you something. I'm grateful for the divorce. It allowed me to meet a wonderful guy and raise a child. Thank you for divorcing me back then, I told him with a big smile. His face at that moment was so pale, and it was comical to watch his mouth moving like a fish out of water. Seeing that, I felt my 5 years of resentment was blown away all at once. Soon after our divorce, Beth had run around to remarry Jason, but she couldn't find a young girl who wanted to marry an over 40 with a beard gut old man. Well, even if he had been younger, it would have been tough as long as the mother-in-law came along. She called on her acquaintances and registered with a matchmaker, but without success. They both had planned to remarry right away, but were shocked to find out the reality. Then his grandmother developed dementia. That was when Beth must have gotten the idea of bringing me back. Seriously? Morons. Why did they even think that I was still waiting for him after 5 years? I'm very happy now. I have a sweet husband and a beautiful 7-year-old daughter. I met him through Macy, and we started going out. We hit it off exchanging our divorce stories and ended up getting married. I wasn't sure if I would be able to get along with Amy at first. It's been almost 4 years since. We've built a truly amazing relationship as a mother and daughter. There may be difficulties in the future. I will continue to protect her no matter what it takes. It doesn't matter if we are blood related or not. Amy is my one and only daughter.